Joe Ducard here, and we are blessed and privileged to have the man, Magic, Mike Macapinlack, back with us here today. And we're going to talk about how you can be magnetic. And we're going to give you five, right?
5 points.
5 points and things that you could take home and do so you could be magnetic and attract women, men, and whoever you're trying to attract into your life.
So the first point that Joe and I kind of brainstormed in, to help you become more magnetic is you have to like yourself. Because here's the thing, Joe and I are both coaches. We both work with people, and we see this a lot. We've had a lot of conversations about this. A lot of guys, they come to us because they want to meet people, they want to, get more dates and make more friends. But the thing is, they don't know what's good about them. That's why, this feeling of not being good enough for people. It's because they don't take the time to recognize, their values and what's good about them. So a good exercise that I would recommend for everyone tuned in right now to help you increase your sense of self-worth and improve your self-image is to write down 3 things you like about yourself on a daily basis. Now, I guarantee you, if you do this for at least a week, and I've given the same advice to my coaching clients, and every single time they come back to me and they say, I feel so much better. I feel so much more confident. And then weeks after, months after, if they're consistent with, coming up with things they like about themselves, they notice a significant improvement in the way people treat them because they treat themselves better.
So the second point is about your interests. So if you want to be magnetic to somebody, then you need to be somebody who is interesting. Now let's break that down a bit. Now, what is somebody who's interesting? It's somebody who has interests, okay? It is somebody who shares those interests with other people and shares them in an interested way. How many people do we know where they have maybe some interests or some things that they like doing, but when the time comes to share it with somebody, they share it in like a meek kind of way. Oh yeah, I do this, or I watch this, or I do that. No. If you are to talk about what you're into, if you would do it in a very interested way and talk about it that with some enthusiasm in a way that you can get other people into it and maybe tell a story, right? Then that's going to get somebody more interested in it as well. So for example, so I like to go hiking, right? I could say, I go hiking a little bit, I do this and that. But instead I could say, one thing I love is getting out of my house, getting away from the computer for a bit and unplugging and getting out into nature. So what I like to do is look up nature spots, hiking trails, different things like that, and just leave my cell phone in the car, get out there into nature. I mean, just the aroma of nature is actually known to lower your cortisol by 30%. So the cortisol is a stress hormone. So getting out there, lowering your stress, getting away from your phone and unplugging for a little bit. It's one of the most peaceful things that I like to do, and it's just my favorite thing to do every week. Now, if you're going to tell it in that way, instead of saying, oh yeah, I like to go hiking, people are going to be more interested in it, whether it's hiking or lettuce or whatever it may be. If you talk about your interests in an interested way, then you're going to become an interesting person. So if you don't have too many things that you're into, I always encourage my students to build some hobbies, to get into some other things. If meeting women is your only hobby, you're not going to have too much to talk about. And I've been there, right? That used to be my only hobby, but I've worked on developing other things, fishing, dance class, hiking. I like photography. I even custom make some of my own clothes now. Business, entrepreneurship, reading, meditation, spirituality, whatever it may be, right? These are things that I'm into. And if some of them you can't give a lot of time to, but some of them, you make a priority, you carve out a little bit of time every week, fitness, nutrition as well. Carve out a little time every week and put some effort into your interests, share them with people in an interesting way, and then you'll be interesting yourself.
So the third point that Joe and I came up with is to be empathetic. So the metaphor and the analogy that I always use when I talk about how to become more magnetic to my students would be, let's say you're applying for a job, right? And it's a 6-figure salary job, but you only have a high school education. You can apply to many different companies until the cows come home, but you're not going to get a job because you're not qualified. Like, you don't have what people are looking for. So I always ask my students when, they're trying to improve their social skills, they're trying to meet more people. The first question that I ask is, who do you want to meet and what do they want? And the next question that you want to ask yourself is, do you have what they want? And if not, then you have to cultivate those traits. So now when people meet you, it becomes a mutual exchange of value. So I'll give you an example. So for me, meeting other entrepreneurs and influencers is a big priority for me, because I'm very passionate about my business. It's something that gives me a lot of joy and fulfillment, and I feel very accomplished when my business is successful. So to me, I start asking myself, what does it take to be invited to all these private masterminds? I had a bunch of opportunities come to my life recently. I'm speaking at an event in Atlanta early next year. Now I'm getting invited to all these groups of high-level entrepreneurs because I took the time to be empathetic, and I asked myself, what kind of person do I need to become, and what kind of traits do I need to develop to attract these kinds of people into my life? So that's my third tip right there. Banter.
The fourth tip we had to throw in there because it's so important to me and you as well too, and just about everybody. Okay, so when I ask my students, I say, what is something you're looking for in a woman? And even if the student is a shy guy, maybe doesn't say too much, they always say a sense of humor. I believe that nearly everybody, some people not. We know we know a couple people where I don't even know what their laugh sounds like because they don't really like to laugh. But a lot of people can appreciate, I'd say most, over 90% of people can really appreciate a sense of humor. And when you can bring some humor into an interaction, people can let their guard down, relax a bit. It's another thing that lowers cortisol, raises serotonin, all the hormonal things and whatever. Now we respond to laughter, okay? And if you could make people laugh and be fun and be light, there's definitely a time where you could do too much of it, for sure, and then you could be the dancing clown or something like that. I like clowns myself, but it's all good. But you definitely want to be able to bring a sense of humor into your interactions when you're with people, okay? And one of the easiest ways to do it to not offend other people is to make fun of yourself. Right? You don't need to make fun of the other person or make fun of anything that's too taboo or whatever. Not just make fun of yourself a little bit. Be like, oh yeah, they say something, and you make a little joke about yourself. Be like, yeah, let me think of one real quick.
You make a lot of Italian jokes with your hands.
Oh yeah, I'm Italian, so I make Italian jokes, and I'll talk with my hands a lot or whatever. And I tell people, I'll be like, how do you silence an Italian? And they say you put them in handcuffs because you can't talk without their hands. And people laugh, a stupid little joke like that. But I'm the Italian guy, and it's funny towards me. I'm not making fun of anybody else. So just a little bit of humor, putting your ego out of it. Maybe even a little self-deprecation, like I said, there would be a great way to let people let their guard down, feel a little more comfortable with you, and also value you, because people with a sense of humor, that's who we want to be around. Somebody who's fun and entertaining, and that's how you can be magnetic.
All right, so the last point that we want to share with you about how to become more magnetic is you have to look the part. Here's the thing. I truly believe that, not everyone's born good looking, because I sure wasn't. When I was 17.
Magic Mac and Joey.
That's right, yeah. We got to put the picture for sure. When I was 17, I used to weigh 200 pounds and I had a 36-inch waist, and my face was covered in acne. Not only that, I'm not very tall. I'm only 5'5", right? But ever since I've taken the time to, control the controllables, I can't do much about my skin color and my height, but I can definitely do something about the way I dress and my grooming. And just my body language and my demeanor and especially these days, right? Like, you never get a second chance to make a great first impression, and it's one of those things where you're gonna put on clothes anyway, right? You're gonna put on a shirt, a jacket, pair of pants, shoes. Why not go the extra mile and be a little bit more intentional about it? This kind of goes back to the point that I made earlier. You want to ask yourself, who do you want to attract in your life? What's important to them, and what kinds of traits and skills do you need to develop to attract those people in your life? And then the other thing too is, how do you need to dress so that when you're at a networking event, you're at a bar, you're at a party, when they see you, there's something about you that captivates them. They're like, oh, you know what? That guy looks like he's someone worth getting to know, right? So you want to put in a little bit more effort with your presentation, because it does go a long way and it does affect the quality of your interactions. That's the last point.
So we want to thank Magic Mike for coming on the show, having him out. Always a pleasure to have you. You can visit Mike at socialconfidencemastery.com. He's got books, he's got courses, he's got the looks, he's got the whole thing. So don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions or any topics you'd like me or Mike to cover, just comment below. Mike has his own YouTube channel as well too, at Social Confidence Mastery. So
and one more thing, if you want to stop boring women to tears, make sure you download Flirting 101 by my boy here, Joe Ducard. I've read the report. It's amazing, and it's helped me a lot. So make sure you check out joeducard.com and download that cheat sheet.